And boom, we're live.
All right. Hey,
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is our 81st episode of City Clips, and we're talking about North Florida business and tech. And I'm so glad to have Matthew Christoffel on with me today to talk about cybersecurity and what his efforts with his team at FSU on just letting the community know more about cybersecurity. And he has a few programs in the summer geared towards youth and college students. So I'm really excited to have you on. So thank you so much for joining me today.
thank you for having me. It's awesome.
So tell me a little bit more about your background and how you ended up at FSU. Tell me how you ended up landing on cybersecurity.
Oh yeah. So it's a pretty standard backstory. I actually had a family member who went to FSU pursuing cybersecurity quite a long time ago. And originally, I wanted to be a voice actor. But yeah, it was very exciting. I met some very cool voice actors in the field and going to a few conventions. But when I was expressing that interest, they're like, it's could be pretty tough trying to pursue like voice acting and acting career without having like the finances in order. And I always love learning, no matter like what it was or what it is. So I was like, you know what, computer science, you seem to enjoy it. FSU seems like a good place to go. So I set my sights on that, and I've pretty much like fallen in love with it ever since. I've had an absolute blast pursuing it, like just about every step of the way. It's been fantastic. The path to get there, I went to a few different community colleges, went to FSU with my AA degree. So, and this was during like pandemic times. So everything up until I got to FSU was completely virtual. So, my social skills weren't all the way up there. It took me about a year to get the hang of things. But once I started talking to people at FSU, I started getting really involved in cybersecurity, and more specifically, like capture the flag. And that's been absolutely exciting.
That's so cool. I mean, I like how you mentioned too, sometimes it's not the traditional route to
Hmm.
get to the pathway that, as far as in your career, there are stories of people starting at community colleges. And I think you mentioned you did spend some
Hmm.
time at TSC, right?
Uh,
Um,
yeah, TCC. So the
yeah,
Tallahassee
TCC at
Community
the
College
time.
here. Once again, just virtual. So I didn't
Yeah.
never really went there physically, not even
Oh,
once. The entire
wow.
admissions process, everything, never even stepped foot on the campus. But honestly, it was a pretty solid experience there. One of the but doing university, starting university virtually was a very interesting like experience. So once I got to FSU, I started enjoying my time, uh, like learning a lot. I learn a lot better when I'm there physically and doing things hands on and practically. I found that it really started like, everything started clicking a lot better, and I started becoming like a lot more social, and it was just
Yeah.
very fun. I really enjoyed
That's
it.
so cool. Yeah, and there's something about like being around people. There's more energy,
Yes.
there's just more motivation and totally get that. It's funny because when I was on the call with you, my husband distinctly said, he was like, wow, that's a nice voice. Like, so it's funny when you mentioned voice actor. I was like, I
Hmm.
can see it still working for you. So don't quit on that
Yep.
idea. I think, so on the side, a little side hustle there. But,
Hmm.
it's
It's the
really cool
plan.
that, yeah, that's great. Cybersecurity is obviously on high demand. So I think
Oh
you've
yeah.
chosen an amazing, focus to hone in on. And so what got this idea with the capture the flag and this program? Has it been ongoing already before you came on, or is this something that you developed?
Yeah, no, this has been going on at FSU for quite some time. I don't know exactly how long, but for a very long time, we've been getting involved in Capture the Flag, which, for those that don't know, is a very hands-on sort of gamified hacking challenges that are just very, very fun ways to learn how to hack. Um, Basically, what it involves is you have to hack into a website or a program and try to retrieve a flag, hence capture the flag. And these flags come in like the form of little bits of text. And once you get it, you start getting points. And from that, the challenges get harder and harder and harder, and you're learning offensive cybersecurity skills as you go along. And my personal belief is that gamifying learning in that way is the absolute best way to do any sort of education. I know a lot of people might be familiar with like Kahoot. Also, one of the best ways to get, any student involved in learning is through these games. And that's why I cannot preach capture the flag enough. And these events can get very cool. One of the coolest ones that I've like challenges that I've ever done, just to show you the scope, is there was this hardware security. There's a bunch of different categories. These can go from like web exploitation, forensics, binary exploitation, reverse engineering, even open source intelligence gathering. So like, hunting people down all over the internet. It can be very fun. But one of the most interesting ones that I've done in the past was hardware related. So they gave me this, this ROM, read-only memory, and I had to get it was like a laser door security pad. So I had to get the code off of that little ROM chip. And what I did was I read through every single, I wrote a script to raise voltages of this like chip individually, like individual pins, according to the spec sheet. I read through every single different one, and I never found the flag. And my head was like, where is it? What's going on? I found out that there's a very specific section in the actual like spec sheet of this computer chip that if you raised one single pin, and there's like 25 of them or something, if you raise one pin to like 12 volts instead of 4, it reveals a secret area on the memory, and that's where the flag was. And
Whoa,
yeah, it was
cool.
awesome.
That
I
must have
was
felt
super happy.
great. I know. I like that's the kind of stuff I know my boys would love. Like it's just
It's
the idea
very
of
fun.
selling the idea to them, like, hey, can I sign you up for a day to
Mhm.
capture a digital flag for
I
cybersecurity?
know.
Anything that
It's
comes
just
to
like
me, they'll
back
be
in the
like,
day when you went
nah.
around the field capturing flags. So
I know how you were talking about like back then you were into gaming and you finally got out of your
mhm.
shell and being
Yeah.
at the university, it really helped. So how do you convince help parents to convince their kids to do it?
Well, like it can, just have to emphasize how fun it can be. And I think one of the best ways to emphasize that is to just, show them, like do maybe even, maybe it might be out of like the, realm of feasibility, but if you sit down, a lot of the challenges. So one website I want to shout out and that we will be using in these workshops we're going to be doing over the summer is Pico CTF. They give you a almost like guided experience, like from these easy challenges, where the first one is literally just printing out a text file, but it guides you through and walks you through almost like how to use, a terminal, all these computer science related like tools and things. And you just get better and better and better and more familiar with cybersecurity related topics as you go through Pico CTF. So if you want your kids to get involved, you almost have to get involved yourself, or you can let us do it for you. But yeah, just emphasize how fun learning really can be. I presented at a few high schools, and there's always some people who are immensely involved in learning, and even if they're not, you know, putting them in a situation where they have to be hands-on in order to succeed is like fantastic. Give them rewards, you give them benefits for participating in these activities. And,
Yeah.
once they start doing it, they're going to fall in love with it.
I was thinking too to just kind of visualize or help them visualize, hey, do you know that character in that movie who's like a, anti-hacker type of thing, that part of
Yes.
the
Yes.
team?
Yep.
Maybe it's the fox on a Guardians of the Galaxy. He's smart.
There's a
Very computer savvy.
whole bunch of
Yeah.
hackers and Marvel all over the place.
Right.
So
I can't even remember his name. Anyways,
I know the
Marvel,
Rocket
I know.
Raccoon was very smart.
Yes, yes. But yeah, no, I just like I like the idea. I like for me, I'm not the most techie person. People
Mhm.
wouldn't believe me because I'm always using tech tools and stuff. But I've always had the fascination of like, oh, it'd be really cool to be able to protect people from
Yes,
hackers.
yes.
You know,
That's
they're
yeah.
called white hackers, right?
Yes, they would call us white hat hackers, and
Oh,
that's one
white
of the
hat
things that
hackers.
yeah, that's what
Sorry. Yes.
and that's one of the things that I'm like very interested in doing. Like like specifically would be hacking into, like I said, I did a challenge involving like, a security door reading off of a memory chip. I think it would be very fun, that's sort of related to industrial control system security. And I think one of the most like important things would be to make sure that places like our energy grid or hospitals are secure. And I think that a very interesting career choice and a very helpful one, and this is something that I would like to do in the future, is uh, what's called penetration testing. So hacking into and telling people what's wrong with like their security systems. So hacking
Right.
into power plants, hacking into hospitals, and then telling them, hey, I was able to get in through these methods. Here's some recommendations to help secure them. I think that is a wildly fun and interesting, and you're always going to be learning new things, which is what I really like doing. It's a definite
That's
like
really
career choice for
cool.
me. And capture the flag is what really has me interested in getting. I can't stress enough like how much hands-on experience you will get if you start doing like capture the flag. It's awesome.
I'm gonna pull up that flyer again too, but before
Yeah.
I do, somebody did put in a comment. Glory Flores, thanks for watching. Matthew, thanks for sharing your experience. That's super cool. It's important to
Yeah.
keep learning fun, and also attempted voiceover work and ended up in tech, which
Awesome.
is
Yeah, maybe
so
there's a
cool.
pipeline there.
Yeah, there's got to be some creative aspect,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I've seen a lot of musicians get into technology.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Mhm.
Computer science majors have some kind of music interest. My
Mhm.
husband was in computer science at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So, really cool. And like you said, and we touched on this, there's a huge need for this, for people to get into cybersecurity. And then with
Mhm.
AI, it's just gotten more intense. I heard,
Oh, yes.
there's just these big companies and government agencies are inundated
Mhm.
with attacks, and I get
Yes. Yes.
spammers all the time on my phone. And I
I
know
do
that has
too.
to do with
That's why
so
that's why I got a call and it immediately went to voicemail. So I had to
yeah,
call you back.
right.
Because I,
Yeah.
I, I disabled my phone from ringing because of all of the phishing scams I'm getting. A very
Yeah.
funny story there. So
And from
um
what I hear too, because Apple is supposed to be one of the most secure
mhm.
iPhones, and they actually do prevent thousands and thousands of spammers from getting
Yeah.
through, but there's a few
There's too
that
many.
get through.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, there's a huge need for a country for this. So really cool that you're doing this. Let me pull up the flyer to make
All right.
sure. So this is for people to sign up. This is a free registration, right?
Yes. So all these
Awesome.
events are going to be absolutely free. Lunch will be provided, so it's always fun.
Wow.
We'll also have prizes at the end of the events. So just walking through a few of the dates here.
Mhm.
On June 7th, we're going to be doing just a little bit of intro to like Python programming and intro to like what capture the flag events are. On June 14th, we're going to be going into web exploitation and cryptography, which is very exciting. I actually helped teach a class for that over the spring, which was very fun. On June 21st, we'll be doing forensic analysis. So that's going to involve reading disk images and capturing like internet traffic. Very cool stuff there. On June 28th, we're going to be going into reverse engineering very briefly because that can be very complicated. So I don't want to scare anyone away. Uh, and we'll be doing a little bit of binary exploitation on that day. And that stuff can be very fun.
That's
July
so
5th,
cool.
it's July 4th weekend. We'll
Oh
just be
yeah.
doing reviews and questions for anybody who wants to stop by. We can answer any questions. We can help you get ahead on the July 12th, the actual CTF competition we're going to be doing, where all of our participants up to that point are going to be doing just an actual capture the flag competition. It's going to be solo, but it's going to be very fun, and there will be prizes available.
That's so
So
cool. I
very
would
exciting.
think that if kids get their friends or parents convince other friends to sign up, I think they'll be motivated to do this together. Like they can have
Yes.
a team, right? They can work with a team, possibly. I don't know
You can
how is
work
it.
in you can work as a team like throughout a lot of the other problems, but the actual event is going to be solo for the
Okay.
time being. The actual competition.
I can see adults wanting to do this. You guys should do an adult version.
Yeah, maybe someday at Domi Station we can host a adult version of the Capture the Flag
Yes,
competitions. That would be very
I
fun.
want to.
I would be more than happy to do. Wait, yeah, like I
That would
said,
be so much fun.
Capture the Flag is very capable of walking people through like even offensive security. You can do some very fun things in these events. So
That's so
uh,
cool. Like my husband, when he heard about it, he's like, I want to do that. He's so
yeah,
excited.
yeah,
He's such a
we've actually gotten that a few times. So I think in the future we'd definitely be interested in doing another event more open to the public. For now, this one's
Yeah,
just due to availability is going to be high
right.
schoolers to university students.
Yes, which is great because they need to stay busy during the summer. And
Mhm.
so when people sign up, is this for the entire week that they're signing up for, or specific days?
When you scan that QR code, it's going to walk you through a little bit about like sort of what this event is. It's going to, ask you a few questions about yourself. What are you interested in doing? Programming, web exploitation, binary exploitation, reverse engineering. It's just a few different questions about yourself. And then it's going to see like what days are you available to come. We absolutely would recommend you go to as many as you can, if not all of them, because that's how you can ensure that you're going to win on the July 12th competition. And then there's
Right.
going to be some pretty good prizes there.
Oh, that's
So it's
cool.
going to be exciting.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and also, lunch on the weekends.
Which
So
is great, which is
yeah,
also really great. So if I is this also let me see, let me share this, because I remember you shared this with me. Is this is a different thing, right? This is a newsletter.
yes, this is our organization's newsletter. So I'm
Oh,
the
right, okay.
chair of the Cybersecurity Community Outreach Organization,
Awesome.
or the CSQ. So this organization is dedicated to going out to the Tallahassee area and just outreaching to senior citizens and anybody else who's interested. We've done a number of different workshops, a ton of workshops with the Tallahassee Senior Center where
Oh,
we've went around
yes.
to all of their lunch and learns, taught all as many people as we could about phishing scams. Well over 100 senior citizens. We've stopped by senior homes. We've had a few events at a few official events with the Leon County Library, which was very exciting. And with this organization in mind, we'll also be having workshops over the summer as well.
Oh,
So
this is
just
great.
yeah, so just a little bit about those. These workshops are different than the capture the flag ones. These are more open
Right.
to the public and intended to, for those that have a little bit of anxiety regarding like technical things. So these are going to be held on June 25th, July 2nd, and July 9th, all at 2:30 to 4 p.m. The June 25th one will be about defeating malware using up-to-date software. So keeping all of your devices updated is the best way to avoid any sort of like, hackers or malicious activities. A great thing to do there. On July 2nd, we'll be having a web surfing privacy settings and techniques. So basically all sorts of Facebook settings to ensure that you're not getting inundated with personalized ads or privacy settings or even child safety settings for a lot of these apps. So that could be very valuable.
That's really
And
cool.
yeah, July 9th, we'll be doing the present of AI deepfakes. So we'll be doing workshops where we're going to show AI deepfakes and how people make them, what to be concerned about, and how to stay safe.
That those
So,
are so helpful. That is
mhm.
so I'm glad y'all are doing that. Um and this is all the information, they just have to subscribe to the newsletter so that
Yes,
way.
if you subscribe to the newsletter, you will get a notice about it. You'll also just be able to those newsletters go out monthly. So
Okay.
if you sign up now to the newsletter, you'll receive a email at the end of the month that'll give you all the details. So once again, these are on June 25th, July 2nd,
Mhm.
and July 9th at the Leon County Main County Library. So the
Okay.
Leroy Collins Library, Program
Yeah.
Room B. So
Okay. Cool.
very
And I'll
exciting.
be subscribed, so I'll know. And
Awesome.
usually my team, we try to aggregate information like that and we
Mhm.
push it out to the community. So
Awesome. Yeah, I
hopefully
really
we can
appreciate
help
that.
spread the word. And I know you were very proactive in filling out our form. So thank you so much for doing that. Otherwise I wouldn't have you on as a
Yeah.
as a guest.
Is that something that happens a lot? People don't fill out the forms.
Well, no, it's just anytime somebody has a story, I'm glad they did, fill out a
Mhm.
form. It just keeps everything centralized. But
Yeah.
also, uh, you know, not a lot of people in Tallahassee know what's going on campus. So it's
Mhm.
good that you're taking initiative to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think someone else who had reached out to me, I think it was somebody on your team, they said
Uh,
that it was, yeah, was it?
I believe that was our alumni sponsor, Aaron Hoffman, who has been
Oh,
absolutely
perfect.
fantastic.
That's great. Yes. He said he found us through Launch Tally, the ramen life platform that Launch
Okay.
Tally's posted on. And I highly recommend that you also post your events on there too, because
Okay.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
we look on there, we look up people's social medias, we're subscribed to multiple community newsletters, and we just
Awesome.
aggregate it and push it out through CityClips. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Cool.
so glad that we can learn
It's
more
one thing
about
that
your
we need
event.
to really get started in doing, just pushing out things everywhere. One thing that I've learned from
Yeah.
doing outreach, our the CSQ, this organization actually started from an internship I did over the summer, where we tried to outreach to a lot of like the community, and we didn't really have a lot of people going to our events, and we tried to register things with different organizations, and I found out outreach takes a long time, like a long time. I just got an email recently saying, "Hey, how does February of next year sound for this event?" So that's the kind of, it's 6 to 12 months is about like when they hear about your organization that you actually have an event. And I did not realize that going into the internship. So I learned a lot
Yeah.
about that and I wanted to keep doing it because, you know, I had a goal to get onto onto the leaderboard of a Center of Academic Excellence outreach competition that
Oh.
FSU was a part of. And I actually managed to get us to ninth. Well, my team, not just me. My team has put in a lot of effort. They've been absolutely fantastic. We managed to get to the ninth place, and I was
Oh,
very happy with
awesome.
that. So, and now
I'm
we're shooting
glad
for
you
first place.
mentioned that. Oh, cool. So I've never heard of that. Can you tell me more about this outreach? It's like a contest. They
Yeah,
have incentivized
yeah.
grad
So a lot of
students.
like
Okay, go ahead.
universities, they have a
Uh-huh.
sort of like accreditation requirements, and one of those
Mm.
is like the Center of Academic Excellence. I don't know too much about it myself, but I understand that it's very important for universities, and they have a bunch of different like competitions and other things, and they just have one for like outreaching to the community because that's you know, speaking out to the community and trying to get involved is just a universal positive and something that
Mhm.
I've really enjoyed doing ever since the get go. So I can see why they'd want to do it. And a competition is easily one of the best ways. That sort of gamifying it is
Yeah,
one of the best
you're
motivators in
competitive.
anything in life. Yeah, competitive, exactly.
So
Nothing's going to
ninth.
motivate you more like winning.
Exactly. And I love the gamified concept because I've heard great things about that, even for business events like
Hmm.
business education. It's also known as like challenges. They call it challenge
Hmm.
competitions. So is this ninth at FSU or ninth? Like, how are they
Uh,
ranking this? Is it?
So this is ninth in a bunch of different universities, all of the universities that are like
Oh,
participating in that
yeah,
competition. I
that's
don't know how
great.
many there are, but
Uh-huh.
it is an accreditation. So I assume that there's a lot participating at least in some
Yeah.
form. So it's very exciting. I was very happy to get on there.
Yes. I'm so glad you reached out. Like this is you've come to the right place.
Yeah, awesome.
And Domi is also a great place where people can hear more about what you're doing. So
Yeah, I'd
we
love
can
to be
make
a
that
part of that.
happen.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
I'll
very exciting.
connect you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we have
We'll
a whole
connect
bunch
you with
of
the
ideas
team.
and workshops almost ready to go pretty much. We've done a lot of presentations and workshops on phishing scams, web safety, even like real versus fake news online. So that includes like, some AI information and, verifying sources. Then a lot of that, and people have found all of those seminars, very helpful. Working with the Senior Center Foundation has been nothing short of fantastic.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and we're very excited to work with more people in the future. So
Yeah, I know that, and from what I've attended a few cybersecurity events myself, and
mhm.
they say the number one victims fall on the elderly, just the senior
Yes.
citizens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because even a lot of people, speaking with a lot of senior citizens at this moment, a lot of people like will just avoid. This can be like a lot of anxiety using technology, and that's one of our goals with these workshops is to help alleviate some of that anxiety. So especially like with the new coming technologies, when we were talking about phishing scams at these seminars, we spoke a lot about AI deepfakes and the potential for concerns there. So we want to show them what the reality of it is now, what the present is like. So we're very excited to be hosting those events. But yeah, as far as for like other events go, these capture the flag events and gamifying it. You mentioned workplaces and in the industry they try to gamify events. The industry actually does a lot of like from what I've noticed, they themselves do a lot of capture the flag events to sort of get involvement with students, and you can win pretty awesome prizes. And all of those, involve a lot of different fun problems. I did a industry sponsored a capture the flag event where we actually one of the challenges was we had to give a presentation on like our activity uh, testing and AI's security, and
Oh,
it was very very fun.
that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, it was awesome. Like full professional. I didn't wear a suit or tie or anything, but felt like I should have in the moment because we
Oh,
were given
believe
like
me,
a
I
full.
think
So
but like being techie, and I think you like look the part really, like I think the long hair
yeah,
and
got the hair for it, got the hanger
yeah,
hair.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
um, but no, that's so cool. I'm really excited to see what y'all do, and
Mhm.
I think there should be more opportunities lining up in the near future too, because
Yeah.
CityClips also wants to host or partner and do tech related events too. So if there's ways we can work together, let's make it happen. So let
Okay.
me make
Yeah.
sure that we share this. I think I have it, yeah, here for people to find you. I've been sharing your contact info and making sure that everybody
Yeah. Sure.
knows.
So
Um,
here's our link tree where you can find all
yes.
sorts of awesome ways to sort of get involved with what we're doing. We have an Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you want to just reach out to us, feel free to just hit that email us button. Best way to reach us. Or in most importantly, please sign up to our newsletter. We got a whole bunch of awesome stuff coming out every month for that. I will say that you may notice that second link on the link tree. That is current at this moment. Since we're live, that is out of
Mhm.
date.
Yeah.
I please recommend rewinding this video back after the live ends and looking at the flyer we had. That QR code and link. Caps lock is important there. You may notice that it's all caps at the end with that little link there. Found out that is important, so make sure it's all caps. But yeah, so that's the primary way, to register for these events. And just
Yes.
so you're aware, these are all going to be held either at the Love Building at FSU or the MCH building. So I just wanted to mention that. I'll be putting up
Okay.
all of the posters pointing you in the right directions.
Oh,
Uh,
perfect.
so we're working on confirming a room right now. So
Awesome. So people like, where's your best recommendation for parking?
for
Excuse me.
parking, ooh, that's a
Yeah.
great question. So I'm pretty sure parking over the summer is pretty much free anywhere, if I'm not mistaken. Highly recommend
Mhm.
you verify that information. I'm not a reliable source regarding parking, as a student there. Uh,
Mhm.
but if you look into and you find that the parking is free for anybody during the summer, then I would recommend the Woodward parking garage. It was very
Oh,
solid.
okay, good.
Closed last summer, so I imagine
Yeah.
how annoying that might have been. But if it's available and you have good parking there, I recommend the Woodward garage. Other than that, reference the FSU website for parking there.
Yeah.
So,
and for parents, I think, I mean, obviously they can drop off as long as they know relatively,
yes.
because a good chunk of Tallahassee is probably new to the community too, and they don't really know where to go around the campus.
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
say for myself,
So
I get lost
if you're
sometimes.
dropping off, if you're dropping off, head to the Woodward garage, and there's a
Mhm.
little loop that you can just drop people off at, and they'll be, within 200 feet of the MCH building. Just beyond that will be the Love building. So it's one of those
Awesome.
two buildings.
Well, thank you so much. This
Thank
is
you for
really
having me. This has been
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you, okay, hold on for a few seconds because we're going to
Sure.
go backstage. I'm going to do a quick outro. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you
Love
for
to
having
have
me.
you on again, talk about
Yeah.
cybersecurity in the near future.
Awesome.
Anything that you want to promote, just make sure you let me know.
Okay. I think it promoted a lot of these events. Sign up for our newsletter, and make sure you bring your high school to undergraduate family to this event. It's going to be a lot of fun. So.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. We're going to catch you guys later. I have amazing guests lined up in the future. Matthew,